Hey, what's up guys? My name is Raman Virapin. I'm a full-time medical doctor and I'm also a home bartender. And I teach other busy professionals how to make cocktails at home. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the different options you have for ice. Now, ice is an absolutely essential drink. In my opinion, it's just as important as all of the other ingredients in a cocktail. And that includes even the liquors themselves, let alone the other ingredients like citrus juices and sweeteners. And there are a lot of different options for ice over there. I would say they fall into four main categories, and I'm going to go over each of them one by one, and that includes these ice cube trays that I have here. This is actually the fourth option, and I'm going to go over that one, so I'm going to go over that one last. Now, the first option is one that is recommended by every single other bartender on YouTube, and that is clear ice. And there's a couple of reasons they prefer that one. Clear ice actually does melt the slowest, so it's least likely to give you an over dilution. And the other thing is clear ice is the most beautiful and elegant to look at. And if you go to any of these high-end cocktail bars, they all use clear ice. Now, why is that impractical for a home bartender? First of all, is that the method for doing it is very laborious and time-intensive. You have to take this pretty decent-sized ice cooler and fill it up completely with filtered water. Then you have to leave it in your freezer for about 24 hours or so, and then you have to take it out, and then you have to carve it up using specialized tools like an ice pick, an ice knife, and maybe even using a hammer or a mallet to help break it up as well. And the main thing with that is that one is that it is time consuming and very labor intensive. And the other thing is that it just takes up a lot of freezer space. And you guys that are watching this are all home bartenders, and a lot of you probably do live with other people, like a roommate or your parents or your significant other, for example. So if you're sharing freezer space with other people, and since you're also a home bartender, you're also using your freezer space to store the food that you're gonna cook and eventually eat. So it's just not really that practical to have a giant ice cooler taking up space for 24 hours or so. So I would say let's rule that method out. Another method that a lot of other YouTubers, bartending YouTubers specifically, recommend is these fancy ice machines. And the main problem with that is that they're very expensive, and they also do take up a lot of space on your countertop. Now, is that something that you could do if you're further along in this journey? Absolutely, but for you all that are just starting out or looking to get into this hobby, I would definitely not recommend that. And I'm actually almost 5 years into my journey, and even I'm not, I don't even have one of those fancy ice machines, nor am I even looking into getting one anytime soon. Now, the next option, this is actually what I recommend you all start off with. This is the standard ice that comes, and there's a few methods you can get it. You can actually use the standard ice cube trays that may come with your own freezer. A lot of fridges and freezers have ice makers, and you can also buy this at most grocery stores. So there are 3 different ways to get this ice, and it's a great beginner ice just because it's the easiest to obtain. And if you're just looking to get into the hobby, you just want to make your first 5, maybe even 10 cocktails, I would say do this to see if you actually do like bartending, and before you want to invest in some of these better ice cube trays. The main disadvantage with that method is that it's because the ice cubes have a large surface area, they do melt a lot faster. So you're more likely to get over dilution, and your drinks are going to dilute a lot faster than if you use these ice cube trays. So let's get into the final method. That's the ice cube trays that I have with me. This is what I use to make all of my cocktails at home. And these ice cube trays are all from Cocktail Kingdom, and they come in various shapes. So let's start with these 2 that I have with me on my right. The orange one is your larger Collins spears, and this is great for making highball drinks like Palomas or Moscow Mules, for example. And it's great if you have the accompanying highball glass because they fit perfectly inside those highball glasses. And I get tons of compliments when I make a Moscow Mule or a Paloma and I use the ice from this tray. And then next up, we have the larger ice cubes, the larger cubes. So in this blue tray, that's what we have here. These are great for your stirred cocktails like old fashions or Negronis that are served on a giant cube of ice. And that's very good because this actually, of the 3 types of ice that I have here, this actually does melt the slowest. So it's going to give you the least amount of dilution. People can enjoy their drinks at a much slower pace when they have this giant cube of ice sitting in there. And only thing to be aware of is that you do need an old-fashioned glass or a low-ball glass, one that's big enough to hold this kind of ice. And another fun fact is that this ice does fit inside of a solo cup. So I know a lot of you are going to be, like myself, throwing parties for larger groups of people, 10 to 15 people, you don't want to be doing a lot of dishes, so you're going to be using plastic cups. And for the bigger solo cups, these do fit in there. And then finally, this light green one here, this is the smaller ice cubes. So these are great. In my opinion, if you could only buy one, if I was starting my bar over again, I would just go with this one. I might even buy 2 of these. These are definitely the most practical, and they can do everything that these other 2 do, plus more. So if you stack up 3 or even 4 of them, they are equivalent to using one of these ice cube spears. And if you use 3 or 4 of them, you can also use them for your stir drinks like Negronis or Old Fashions. And finally, these are the best for shaken drinks. So as you've seen from some of my other videos, whenever I make a shaken drink like a daiquiri or a whiskey sour, for example, I like to put in maybe 2 or 3 of these cubes and shake it together. So these are the most practical. And what I like to do before parties, or if I'm having people over, I like to fill these trays up. So let's just go over this one. I like to fill this up because it has 15 spots, so 15 ice cubes. You fill it up several days before, give it time to freeze, and then you take out all of the ice cubes and then you put it into a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. And then you repeat the process maybe 2 or 3 more times. So then by the time it's actually the day of the party, instead of just having this tray with only the 15 ice cubes, you actually have 45 or even 60 ice cubes. And that's more than enough for even large-sized parties. So that's what I currently use for making all of my drinks here. So let's go over as a summary. There are 4 ways to get ice. So the 2 ones that I definitely don't recommend, one is to use the clear ice method that's recommended by pretty much every other bartending expert on YouTube. And then the second method is the expensive ice machines that make the ice for you. These are more practical if you're very deep into the hobby and you really want to get into it, or if you're actually working at a bar. So if you're a bartender that's working in an actual bar, you probably do have these machines or the clear ice makers, things like that. For us home bartenders, the best way to start off is just to use the standard ice cubes that come in those standard trays, or that your fridge makes on its own, or that you can pick up at any grocery store. And once you know that you really do like the hobby, you want to invest in getting some nice equipment, then I would recommend these 3 ice cube trays from Cocktail Kingdom. If you could only get one, I would say go ahead and get this light green one, which is the smaller ice cubes. So there you go. That's my explanation on the different types of ice and what you should use in your bartending journey.